Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about how the month of September is going to be affecting you according to your ascendant or your moon sign. Now remember, I am a Vedic sidereal astrologer, so you cannot be putting in your Western sun sign. I know half the people probably do this. That's why I'm telling you it won't work. But here is the thing. If you don't know your Vedic sidereal moon or ascendant, you can figure it out by going to my website. Go to galacticcenter.org and put in all your birth information, and it will tell you your ascendant and your moon sign. But here's what you do. Once it calculates, go to the very bottom and read at the bottom where the AS, that's your ascendant sign, MO, that is your moon sign. Those are the two signs I want you to listen to. Now, if you want to get your whole chart, get it printed out, you really want to know more about this, which I think you should. Go to my Galactic Planner. There it gives you a printout of your chart. And not only that, gives you all these predictions in much greater detail than I'm able to do right now. So go to galacticplanner.com and put in your birth details. You will get your entire chart and all the details and predictions. You will love it. So go to galacticplanner.com and remember this as well. If you want to get all of my predictions delivered free to your email address, sign up for my newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org. And not only that, the galacticcenter.org is where you're going to figure out your Vedic signs. I have a free chart calculator. That's what I've been talking about. So with that, now that you know what signs you're listening to, let's get going and talk about what September has in store for you. So what I'm going to be focusing in on is obviously the eclipses, because this is the month that we have a solar and a lunar eclipse. And this is very important. These eclipses will affect all of us in a very, very different way. So I am basing things solely on the solar eclipse, because the solar eclipse is the most important. A lunar eclipse is like a side shoot from a solar eclipse. So I'm looking at this eclipse and it's positioned in Virgo. So looking at this, if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Aries, then this means that the eclipse is occurring in your 6th house. Your 6th house is the house of health and healing. And when an eclipse happens here, it's telling me to tell you, you've got to get more serious about your health, work on your physical being, strengthen your immune system. And another thing is, this can affect you very much in the area of your work. The 6th house is the house of work and how you get along with people in the workplace. And I'll tell you what, it means your workplace is changing pretty dramatically. Probably if you work for a company, they're going through a major change and major overhaul, or even things will end, begin, and or the people you work with, that will all shift and change as well over the course of the next year, because these eclipses really do affect an entire year. So this is important that you know this. Now, transiting Mars is in your 7th house this month, which will cause some discord in your relationship. So I want you to be aware that your partner will be more angry or hostile or just argumentative. So this too will pass. It's not a life-changing event, but do be aware that your partner or even business partners will be a little bit more conflicting. If your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Taurus, then this means that this eclipse is occurring in your 5th house. And the 5th house deals with your creativity, your mind. And this means that you are changing a lot of what you think, a lot of what you believe, but you're much more creative, and there's a big opening, even to open your heart this year, with eclipses happening in your 5th house. 5th house is the house of love too, but it's also the house of children. So if you do have children, there will be some changes with them. Their personalities, the way they are, the way they react, everything about them is going through a transformation. Furthermore, if you're trying to have children, this can mean a new beginning, because eclipses aren't always bad. They represent big changes, which would mean you're more likely to get pregnant if you're wanting to. Now, another thing is you will have new ideas, amazing new ideas. Use them, go forward with them, because the 5th house is creativity and expression, which you need to be doing, expressing yourself. But I will say Mars is in your 6th house, and the 6th house is health and healing. Mars there can actually make you more athletic, just really want to get fit, stronger, and or if you don't take care of yourself, it could represent illness in terms of fevers or infections or even accidents. So be aware of that. Now, in the workplace, since the 6th house does deal with your work, you might find that your co-workers or employees are definitely more agitated, not as easy to get along with. So be aware of that. But Mars in the 6th house should give you more energy, make you more energized in many ways. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Gemini, this means that the eclipse is occurring in your 4th house. And within the next year, there may be some major changes in where you live and or possibly purchasing real estate, because that's a 4th house matter. So you might be renovating, changing your home. You might be moving, as well as you could be even investing in real estate. This is pretty much starts this month, but flavors the entire year to come. Now, Mars will be in your 5th house. And the 5th house is the house that deals with creativity, and you will be inspired more creatively. It's like Mars is a trigger for things, and in the 5th house, it's like this trigger for new ideas, creative projects, expressing yourself. Now, if you have children, this could mean children are going to be more combative, more probably rebellious, difficult, and or very, very active. So Mars there will be activity, activating children. And if you want to get pregnant, then yes, this is a time that things could move forward in that area as well. So going back, one more thing about the eclipse being in the 4th house. If your mother's still around, this will represent major changes within her life and what's going on with her. Doesn't necessarily always mean something bad, but it just means major shifts and changes within your mother's life. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Cancer, then this means that this eclipse is occurring in your 3rd house. And the 3rd house deals specifically with education, learning, expanding knowledge. So you will be inspired to learn more, to gain more information, maybe take some courses, some classes, and or just be reading a lot more. And your ability to express yourself through writing becomes more prominent. And the other thing the third house can deal with is brothers and sisters. So you're going to find that there's going to be a lot of changes occurring to your siblings within their lives within this year, as well as the third house can deal with travels. And with the eclipse being here in your third house, you will be traveling a lot more. Maybe even commuting. You'll spend more time traveling, particularly maybe in the car, on the road, going places. And it's also a time of really deep understanding, because this gives you the ability to want to learn new things and expand your awareness about everything around you. Now, Mars is transiting in your fourth house, and the fourth house deals with where you live. And this can sometimes mean some problems with real estate or your home, maybe things breaking, or maybe just a move, because Mars is energy. This can deal with energy being put forth, maybe in renovating or moving, but something big about the house this month. And another thing is, if your mother's still around, the fourth house deals with the mother, make sure that you connect with her in a positive way. You might be a little bit more argumentative or disagreements with her, but that's okay. But another thing that Mars does deal with is cars, because it deals with engineering, electric vehicles, not necessarily just electric, but machinery. Therefore, be cognizant of your car being serviced, not having any problems during this month. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Leo, then this means that the eclipse is occurring in your second house. The second house deals specifically with finances and money. And this may mean that your financial situation is going to change this year, starting this month. This, like I say, it's not a bad thing, just means it's going to change. So it could even put you on the up and up. But the way that you deal with and the way that you make money will change. This is for certain. And another thing I have to tell you about the second house, it deals with family. So dealing with family, with this eclipse, there's going to be some major changes within the family. And many times it can relate to the family you were born into, and even your conversations with family members of your immediate family. Now, there's going to be changes within the immediate family. Now, Mars is in your third house, and the third house deals with information, learning, education, and these are going to be things that you put a lot of energy into this particular month. And you might be traveling. Sporadic, unexpected trips may come about. And I will say your relationships with your siblings can be a little bit more argumentative or combative. Just be aware Mars in the third represents fighting with siblings. So be aware of that this month. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Virgo, then this is interesting because the eclipse is occurring in Virgo. So the fact that you have this eclipse energy in your first house, it means everything about your appearance is wanting to change. How you look, how you dress, even the colors you're drawn to wearing. It's all about your physical appearance to the world. You may change your hair, you may change your makeup, you might change your clothes. Everything about how you look will be a focus this entire year. And another thing it deals with is your sense of self-confidence, your sense of self, how you feel about how you are, not only how you look, but your inner confidence. That will be going through a big change because you're changing yourself right now. Major change for starting now and throughout the year. Now, furthermore, Mars is going to be in your second house this month. And that tells me you may not be so frugal with spending. Be aware not to be compulsive or obsessive and spend, because you may regret it later. This is like a compulsive habit of spending too much when Mars is in the second house. Also be aware of your eating habits. Don't eat too fast. Be cognizant of how you're eating. But another thing is, because the second house deals with family, you might find that there's some conflicts within the family, either the family you were born into as well as your family, immediate family now. So there's a lot going on in your immediate family. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Libra, then this means that the eclipse is happening in your 12th house. And the 12th house deals specifically with things of the past, healing things of the past. A lot will be coming up that you didn't know about from your past that you have to deal with now and work on. And I have to say, when you do, it will make you so much better. Your life, your healing, your future. But you got to heal these old things from the past that have been essentially holding you back. Don't let the past hold you back anymore. Look towards the future, but there's a healing coming within this year about all of the issues from your past. And the 12th house can also deal with people behind the scenes, people you can't see. They kind of call them hidden enemies. Be aware that you're going to have to deal with a lot of people or instances or things from your past, and even where you're working behind the scenes that people are talking about. So there's practically nothing you can do about people talking behind your back, but just be aware. They're the ones with the issue, not you. Now, this also means that Mars, while it is in Libra this month, is in your first house. So you will have more energy, you will have more spunk, and you'll be more direct, you'll be more energized, but be careful not to be too impulsive or impatient. Because with Mars being here, it could set you up for accidents if you are too impulsive. So slow down, take it easy, use that energy in a positive way. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Scorpio, then this means this eclipse is occurring in your 11th house. The 11th house deals with your friends. This means your whole group of people, the people in your life, are going to change. The people you hang with, the groups, the organizations. And it's time for a change. You've probably outgrown a lot of the old relationships, and now it's opening the door for new friends, new relationships that resonate, that vibrate more to your frequency. Now, the 11th house can also deal with gains, with how we come into gains and money. And this can actually mean there's a big shift in this area, which is positive. But the other thing it can deal with is an older sibling. If you have an older sibling, this would mean that within their life, they're going through some major upheavals and many changes. And with this means Mars is in your 12th house. And I do know Mars, as being a natural malefic in the 12th house, can cause people to talk behind your back, can cause people to be jealous of you. Just don't participate. Don't participate in gossip or anything like that. Just let it ride. They're the ones with issues. They probably want something that you have, and that's no fault of yours, but they're the ones that have the issues. Now, with Mars being in the 12th house, it will dredge up some things from the past. You got to face them, deal with them, and heal them. It will make your future better. If your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Sagittarius, this means the eclipse is happening in your 10th house. And the 10th house deals with your work, your career, and it means business, work, career are changing. They're transforming. It can also mean that there's a possibility if you work for a company, your boss could be changing. But it usually means there's big changes in the organization. If you own your own business, it means some changes are occurring within that as well. So what I want to say is your purpose in life is changing. You're going to want to go after the things that seem more purposeful, more meaningful in your life with this eclipse occurring in your 10th house. Now, with Mars in your 11th house, you might find that your friends are not as agreeable as normal. Maybe you have some disagreements with friends and or within social contexts with others. And because the 11th house can deal with the oldest sibling, you might find that you have disagreements with your elder sibling as well. If your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Capricorn, then this means that the eclipse is occurring in your 9th house. And this pretty much means your beliefs, your spirituality are changing. You're going through an incredible transformational change in your beliefs and your awareness within your spirituality. And this can be very enlightening in many ways because you're opening up to a new way of seeing things. Now, if your father's still alive, this can mean there can be some problems, or not necessarily problems, I take that back, just some changes within dealing with your father's life per se. And the 9th house deals with higher education. Therefore, it can deal with the fact that there is something changing with how you believe. But if you're in school, you might find that your classes are different, your teachers are different, the way that you approach your education is different. And you might be traveling this year to so many foreign, faraway places. Now, Mars is transiting your 10th house. And this can mean some direct conflicts with your boss. Don't be overly combative or try to upstage people that are above you in the workplace, because this is not going to work in your favor. So be careful what you do and say in your work, in your career. Now, if you own your own business, it can mean that you're really striving to do better and possibly even expand. If your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Aquarius, then this means that the eclipse is happening in your 8th house. This is a time of major inner work. And this means major transformations. It means looking deep within and figuring what is motivating certain behaviors that you would like to transform and change. When you make these realizations through inner work or inner reflection, you're going to find that this will set you up for a much bigger and better life in the future, because it deals with healing, deals with deep, deep healing, transformational changes. This is what this is all about. Now, with this eclipse occurring in your 8th house, you might find that you come into some situations dealing with money through other people, inheritances or investors, but there will be some change in your financial situation due to money that comes from other people. And Mars will be in your 9th house. And Mars in the 9th house could cause you to sporadically, suddenly go on a trip, unexpectedly. And Mars in the 9th house can also spur you on to a new and different belief system in your life. You are searching for truth and spirituality. And if you're in school, be a little reserved with your professors. Don't go with a difficult attitude, because it won't work. It won't help. Now, furthermore, if your father's still around, this can mean some conflict or problems for your father. Mars is a malefic, and it could cause some problems there, and maybe just some disagreements. So if your moon or your ascendant sit in sidereal Pisces, then this means this eclipse is happening in your 7th house, which means changes within your relationships. If you're not in a relationship, this could bring one. If you are in a relationship, it can mean the way that you approach each other, the way that you relate to each other is going through a transformation. And the other aspect of this can simply mean that your partner is going through a big, big change, and their life is going to be different in many ways, with possibly their work or their health or anything dealing with whatever it is that is pressing in their life. Big changes will occur. And this also goes for any business partners, that there will be changes dealing with business partners as well as them within their own lives. And Mars is in your 8th house, digging up a lot of old stuff from the past, but most of all, it can dig up some things that make you very inwardly reflective, to look within how you can psychologically change yourself so that things improve and get better. This is all about deep psychological analysis, with Mars being in the 8th house. And be aware, it can be difficult. You might see or bring out some things that are of the shadow side, if I could say, in your own life. But that just simply means you've got to do the inner work to heal it. That is what I'll say. So with this, I have covered all the 12 all the 12 signs, and what to expect coming up in this world for the month of September. So if you want to learn more about me, if you want to learn Vedic astrology, if this has inspired you, then remember, you can join my school anytime. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.